Kunja Bihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jaya Gopi Janavallabha Girdharadhari. Jaya Gopi Janavallabha Girdharadhari. Jaisacinandana Braja Janaranjana. Jaisacinandana Braja Janaranjana. Jaisacinandana Braja Janaranjana. Jaisacinandana Braja Janaranjana. Jamuna Tira Vanacharim. Jamuna Tira Vanacharim. Jamuna Tira Vanacharim. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda. Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jaya Radha Radhanath, Radha Radhanath, Radhe. Jaya Giri Govardhan, Giri Govardhan, Giri Govardhan, Jaya Giri Govardhan. Jaya Gaura Hari, Gaura Hari, Gaura Hari, Jaya Gaura Hari. Did I go Haribo, 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 God Haribo, did I go? Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Prabhupada. Jaya Jaya Gurudev, 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 Jaya Gurudev. Go Premanandi, Jayam Vishnupad, Paramahansa Parivrajaka Stotra Sri Srimad, His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki, ISKCON Founder Charli Srila Prabhupada Ki, Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki, Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam Ki, Bhaktivedanta Purports Ki, Srila Prabhupada Ki. All glories to the symbol devotees, all glories to the symbol devotees, all glories to symbol devotees, all glories to Guru and Gauranga, glories to lotus feet of Srila Prabhupada. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskrityam Naram Chaivam Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Mudiraye Nasta Prayasya Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavat Uttamashloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naistiki. Hare Krishna. So today we're reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 4, Chapter 11, text number 6. Swayambhuva Manu advises Dhruva Maharaj. We'll do the Tan Anyamanam Abhivikshya Guyakan. Everyone? Tan Anyamanam Abhivikshya Guyakan. Angashas Chitra Ratena Burisha. Anagasas Chitra Ratena Burisha. Atona Padim Kripaya Pitahamahu. Anupadim Kripaya Pitamahu. Manu Jagato Pagata Saisribi. Manu Jagato Pagata Sarishibi. Tan Anyamanam Abhivikshya Guyakan. Anagasas Chitra Ratena Burisha. Atona Padim Kripaya Pitamahu. Manu Jagato Pagata Saisribi. Tan Anyamanam Abhivikshya Guyakam. Anagashas Chitra Ratena Burisha. Atona Padim Kripaya Pitamahu. Manu Jagato Pagata Saisibi. Tan Anyamanam Abhivikshya Guyakan. Anagasas Chitra Ratena Burisha. Atana Padim Kripaya Pitamahu. Manu Jagato Pagata Sahashibi. Tan Anyamanam Yakan. Anagasha Chitra Ratena Burisha. Nanupadim Kripaya Pitamahu. Manu Jagato Pagata Sahashibi. Tan Anyamanam Vivikshya Guyakam. Anagasa Chitra Ratena Burisha. Anapadim kripaya pitamaho Manujagato pagata sahasibi Jananyamanam abhiviksha guyakan Anagasa chitra ratena burisha Tauna padim kripaya pitamaho Manu jagato pagata sahashibi Tan anyamanam viviksha guyakan Manu jagato pagata sahashibi Word for word. Tan, those yakshas, anyamanam, being killed, abhiviksha, seeing, guyakan, the yakshas, anagasa, offenseless, chitrarathana, by Dhruva Maharaj, who had a beautiful chariot, Burisha, greatly, Altanapadhim, unto the son of Uttanapad, Kripaya, out of mercy, Pitamaha, the grandfather, Manu, Swayambhuva Manu, Jagada, gave instructions, Upagata, approached, Saha Rishibi, with great sages. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace. A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki. When Swayambhuva Manu saw that his grandson, Dhruva Maharaj, was killing so many of the yakshas who were not actually offenders, out of his great compassion he approached Dhruva with great sages to give him good instructions. You can repeat responsibly. When Swayambhuva Manu saw that his grandson, Dhruva Maharaj, was killing so many of the yakshas who were not actually offenders, out of great compassion, he approached Dhruva with great sages to give him good instructions. Purport. Dhruva Maharaj attacked Alakapuri, the city of the yakshas, because his brother was killed by one of them. Actually, one of the citizens, not all of them, was guilty of killing his brother, Uttama. Dhruva Maharaj, of course, took a very serious step when his brother was killed by the yakshas. War was declared and the fighting was going on. This sometimes happens in present days also. For one man's fault, a whole state is sometimes attacked. This kind of wholesale attack is not approved by Manu, the father and the lawgiver of human race. He therefore wanted to stop his grandson Dhruva from continuing to kill the yaksha citizens who were not offenders. Om Jnana Timirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshuram Malitam Jaina Tasmai Sri Guruve Namaha Sri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Jaina Bhutale Swayam Rupa Gadamayam Tadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Sri Guru Sri Yuta Padakamalam Sri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Sri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunath Anvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Sri Vishakhan Vitamscha Hey Krishna Karuna Sindhu, Dina Bandhu Jagatpate, Gopisha Gopika Kanta, Radha Kanta Namostute, Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi, Radhe Vrindavaneshwari, Vrishabhanu Sute Devi, Pranamami Hari Priye, Vanchakalpa Tarubhyascha, Kripa Sindhu Bhyahevacha, Patitanam Pavinebhyo Vaishnavabhyo Namo Namaha. Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda, Sri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaura Bhaktavinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So this Halakapuri, Prabhupada said, is somewhere in the Himalayas. And the Yakshas are the followers of Lord Shiva. They have like ghostly bodies. And Prabhupada also said they're like similar to the Tibetans. Or the Tibetans have come from this race kind of. The Tibetans that are presently living in the Himalayas were descendants of these Yakshas actually. The irony of this whole story is that Dhruva, we go back to the history of Dhruva, how he was insulted by his mother to the extent that he became very angry, and there was some animosity there. He was feeling that. And then eventually, of course, he goes to the forest and he becomes kind of purified in one sense. He sees the Lord face to face, and he comes back. One would think that he has given up all his worldly attachments. But still we see how when he heard that his brother in this pastime here, Jai Sri Sri Radha Radhanath Ki, Sri Gaurangama Prabhu Ki, Sri Giriraj Govardhan Ki, Sri Prabhupada Ki. Yeah, so where was I? Yep. What was I saying? Anybody? Yes. Yeah, of course, he comes back. One would think that he's given up all his worldly attachment. Yeah, we see that he still has that, because when he heard that his brother, who went on a hunting expedition with his mother, he wasn't married, apparently he was. And in the course of the expedition, he was killed by one yaksha, not the whole country of yakshas. Just one yaksha killed, and he was killed. But Dhruva took it upon himself that he wanted revenge. He wanted to revenge his brother's death, because his stepmother also perished in that. She also died. So the saying is, blood is thicker than water. Blood is thicker than water. So somehow this attachment for kin, family, blood relatives is very strong in a conditioned state. In a state of conditioning, we feel that very much. Like Arjuna also expressed that. But although Arjuna is a pure devotee, a pure associate of the Lord, but Krishna put him in some illusion for him to think like a conditioned, to act like a conditioned soul, and identify with with the worldly affairs of the world, and in that way he became very despondent. So so Swayambhuva Manu is the Pitamaha, is the grandfather, Pitama, and Swayambhuva Manu is also the he says the law books for mankind. Manu Samhita, the law book judicial system. Presently, even in the Indian government, they still follow that laws of Manu, and the laws of Manu are like capital punishment. Capital punishment means if somebody commits murder, then they go hanging, or whatever decision is made, they are made to pay the price of by hanging or whatever the system, what they have to, for them, so that they not come back again and pay for that heinous crime. When I was doing the prison program many years ago in Westville Medium B, which was the maximum security prison, where all the hardcore prisoners were, and I would go and do programs. And you have to be escorted. You cannot go on your own. You have to wait till the two guards come and escort you all the way up to your... And it was nice. There was very nice facilities for them. They had the big room where the church, conducted church programs, and then there was one Pandit would come also and do for those Hindu programs, and then they allotted us 1 hour program there also. So I made friends with the chaplain, who was a Afrikaner named, I think, Mr. Kruger. Very nice man. And I would take him like nice prasad, like samosas, and he would meet him sometime. He would call me to his office, and then he asked me what's our take on capital punishment. So, and I quoted this verse, Prabhupada, from chapter 2, text 21. There's a Prabhupada, from Manu Samhita, he says the man who commits crime has to get the just to fit the punishment. But during of course, the new dispensation, they did away with capital punishment, death row, no more. You get a life sentence, or you get up to 8 to 15 years, you get paroled. But still, the scars of that is still there. People don't forget. They don't forget that. So, yeah, capital punishment is, and of course in some Arab countries it is more extreme, isn't the Sharia laws. Just the other day I was watching the news, and 2 Nigerians were caught for drugs in Arabia, and they were in public, they were executed in public. Yeah, because all this is displayed in public. You're caught stealing, they chop your hands off in public. If you caught you a prostitute, they would stone you to death. It still goes on. These harsh Sharia laws are there. So the laws of Manu are very exact and very prevalent. So Prabhupada mentions here that even in present day, if some war, something happens, like we read here, he's saying war was declared and the fighting was going on. This sometimes happens in present days also. So the First World War started like that. Just one isolated incident. One diplomat or some dignitary was assassinated. I think it was some Prussian, correct me if I'm wrong. And then it sparked a whole world war. It took like from 1914, 1918, and millions of people died in that war. Collateral damage, and this is all the spoils of war. Collateral damage is there. So there was a simple incident when Maharaj Parikshit we know was, he was in his travels and he got very thirsty and he got hungry and he got very exhausted, and somehow he ended up in some hermitage of Samika Muni, and Samika Muni was deep in Samadhi, and Maharaj Parikshit, he walked around, and he saw there's no one to greet him or acknowledge his presence, being the king. And of course, the etiquette is when somebody comes, the etiquette is you offer them some water or a seat to sit. This is the etiquette, the Vedic etiquette. But somehow felt he was ignored. So in his anger, he found a dead snake and he garlanded the sage. He was completely oblivious of his surroundings, of who was there. He was deep in. And he went back to his palace. Meanwhile, the son, Shringi, was a Brahmin boy, was playing with his friends, and he sensed something was wrong. And he saw, when he came and he saw there's a snake around his father's garlanded with a snake. And he became so angry and he wondered who had done this, And he immediately cursed. He says, whoever's done this, I curse him to die, bitten by a snake bird, to die within 7 days. And this is how Maharaj Parikshit was cursed by this Brahman boy, and that incident sparked the fall down of the Brahmanas, or the age of Kali started to dawn at that moment when the Brahman cursed Maharaj Parikshit, who was a Bhagavatam, a pure devotee of the Lord. Yeah. So after the incident, when Maharaj Parikshit was bitten as the curse, the Brahman cursed, and his son, King Janamajaya, I just want to read that from the excerpt of that pastime. This is from the 12th canto. Hearing that his father had been fatally bitten by the snake bird, Maharaj Janamajaya became extremely angry and had Brahmanas perform mighty sacrifices in which he offered all the snakes in the world into the sacrificial fire. When Takshaka was the name of the snake bird who bit Maharaj Parikshit. When Takshaka saw that even the most powerful serpents being burned in the blazing fire of that snake sacrifice, he was overwhelmed with fear and approached Lord Indra for shelter. When King Janamajaya did not see Takshaka entering the sacrificial fire, he said to the Brahmanas, "Why is not Takshaka, the lowest of all serpents, burning in this fire?" The Brahmanas replied, "O best of kings, the snake Takshaka has not fallen into the fire because he is being protected by Indra, whom he has approached for shelter. Indra is holding him back from the fire." The intelligent King Janamajaya, hearing these words, replied to the priests, "Then, my dear Brahmanas, why not make Takshaka fall into the fire along with his protector Indra?" Hearing this, the priest then chanted this mantra for offering Takshaka together with Indra for an oblation into the sacrificial fire. O Takshaka, this was the prayer, fall immediately into this fire, together with Indra and his entire host of demigods. When Lord Indra, along with his airplane and Takshaka, was suddenly thrown from his position by these insulting words of the Brahmanas, he became very disturbed. Brihaspati, the son of Angira Muni, seeing Indra falling from the sky in the airplane, along with Takshaka, approached King Janamejaya and spoke to him as follows. O king among men, it is not fitting that this king of snakes meet death at your hands, for he has drunk the nectar of the immortal demigods. Consequently, he is not subject to the ordinary symptoms of old age and death. The life and death of an embodied soul and his destination in the next life are all caused by himself through his own activity. Therefore, king, no other agent is actually responsible for creating one's happiness and distress. There's a little purport there by the disciples of Srila Prabhupada. Although King Parikshit apparently died by the bite of Takshaka, it was Lord Krishna himself who brought the king back to the kingdom of God. Brihaspati wanted King Janamejaya to see things from the spiritual point of view. When a conditioned soul is killed by snakes, thieves, fire, lightning, hunger, disease, or anything else, he is experiencing the reaction of his own past work. And there's a purport again that it says, according to Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, King Parikshit obviously was not suffering the reactions of his past karma. As a great devotee, he was personally brought back home, back to Godhead by the Lord. Therefore, my dear king, please stop this sacrificial performance, which was initiated with the intent of doing harm to others. Many innocent snakes were already being burned to death. Indeed, all persons must suffer the unforeseen consequences of the past activities. Sutta Goswami continued, advised in this manner, Maharaj Janamejaya replied, so be it. Honoring the words of the great sage, he desisted from performing the snake sacrifice and worshipped Brihaspati, the most eloquent of sages. I was trying to see how Maharaj Parikshit, how he came under this illusion of feeling thirsty and doing this crazy act of garlanding. What prompted him to do this? And I was reading in the Burijan's book, Unto the Lotus Feet. The first 4 cantos are very nicely summarized there. And I saw very nice by Srila Prabhupada, he quotes from Srila Prabhupada. He says, Maharaj Parikshit was a pure devotee. This is from chapter 18 of that first canto. Text 24, Prabhupada comments on that purport. Maharaj Parikshit was a pure devotee of the Lord, and there was no reason for him to become extremely fatigued, hungry, and thirsty, because a devotee of the Lord never becomes perturbed by such bodily demands. But by the desire of the Lord, even such a devotee can become apparently fatigued and thirsty, just to create a situation favorable for his renunciation of worldly activities. One has to give up all attachments for worldly relations before one is able to go back home, back to Godhead. And thus, when a devotee is too much absorbed in worldly affairs, the Lord creates a situation to cause indifference. The Supreme Lord never forgets his pure devotee, even though he may be engaged in so-called worldly affairs. Sometimes he creates an awkward situation, and the devotee becomes obliged to renounce all worldly affairs. The devotee understands by the signal of the Lord, but others take it to be unfavorable, and frustrating. Maharaj Parikshit was to become the medium, for the recitation of Srimad Bhagavatam by Lord Krishna, as the as his grandfather Arjun was the medium for Bhagavad Gita. Had Arjun not been taken up with the illusion of family affection by the will of the Lord, the Bhagavad Gita would not have been spoken by Lord himself for the good of all concerned. Similarly, had not Maharaj Parikshit not been fatigued, hungry and thirsty at the time, Srimad Bhagavatam would not have been spoken by Srila Shukadeva Goswami, the prime authority of Srimad Bhagavatam. So we understand that Dhruva Maharaj also very similar situation. Is still under the protection of the Lord, but somehow so the higher plan of the Lord is there, and we know Dhruva, he goes back to Godhead. Ultimately, he goes back to Godhead. Yeah. Hare Krishna. Is there any questions or comments?
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Jai Prabhu. I'm thinking of these verses, and if I get the sequence right, it seems like the illusion is generated by the yakshas, and then Dhruva is overcome by that illusion. So the sages come and they remind him of the Narayan weapon, and then with the weapon the illusion is dispelled, and arrows shoot out, yakshas get destroyed. So I'm wondering, and then Swayambhuva Manu comes and says, stop, this is excessive. So I'm wondering, what was Dhruva meant to do? Because he has the arrow, and he needs to dispel the illusion, and he dispels the illusion, and then the arrows shoot his enemy. They're not exactly going to just like let him, okay, now you can walk away. He sort of has to counter them, So, but then Swayambhuva Manu comes and says it's excessive. So it seems to be such a small window frame between where Dhruva is able to follow the orders of the sages, but and then how do I get this? I mean, he couldn't neglect the orders of the sages. He had to dispel the illusion, but then it's a small window frame where it becomes too much. Maybe you can explain that for us.
Yeah. Okay. The story goes that one yaksha, he was killed by one yaksha, the brother of. When Dhruva takes it, he killed all of them. I mean, he just took it upon himself. And then the sage reminded him that, you no need to kill all of them. According to Manu Samhita, if you take a life, then your life has to go. That is fair. So why did he, go extreme? He went to extremities. In a similar, like Janamajaya is being by Brihaspati, one snake, why you have to, all the snakes have to be killed just because of one snake.
So then I was saying that Dhruva's wrong intention was from initially in attacking the yakshas in the first place.
Yeah, I mean, that was his brother. This is his brother. I mean, if something happens to your his blood, you will feel some emotion, at least. And some go to the extreme of, like taking life for a life. It's like that. So.
Then I was thinking, if that's true, like that his motive was negative in the initial, then we see that he's killing innocent people. And I remember, because recently I was going through the 5th canto Hellish Planets, there's a specific planet for punishing the innocent. And yet we see this great saintly person who commits this heinous act, but it doesn't seem like Dhruva gets any repercussion for it. He's like chided on the hand by the sages, like don't do that, You
want to comment on that, son? He get wrapped. Well, Manu's his grandfather he's the authority there, so gently wrapping him, I guess. But I guess it's a higher plan. You see, like how Maharaj Parikshit was, he was put into this kind of illusion. So I assume so a similar pattern is here also with Dhruva. Although Dhruva, he went went to a high level of seeing the Lord, but he's still involved in his worldly pursuits of defending his family and like that. So there's a high arrangement. It's there also. You can read Brudian gives a nice on that, You got that surrender unto the lotus feet. It very elaborate explains this whole interaction of all this illusion, how we come under this illusion. And of course there's a conditioned souls, they in the gross, but for a pure devotee of the Lord, and it's a different scenario, isn't it? It's not the same. Anything else? Srila Prabhupada ki, Granth Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki